I'm starting a business or I want to start a business? What are some actual tangible actions I can take to start to strategize? And then how do I market myself?
Well, you talk to your customers who are buying from you and you try to learn why. And you try to listen for the words they use. Hopefully they're not saying cheapest or easiest. They're saying things like design, and they're talking about things like that. You also then look at the way you are producing the product. What is unique? Is there a certain manufacturing approach? Is there a technology? Is there a material? Is there a fabric? Is there a design that you have extra? It could be, if it's a backpack, extra pockets or extra zippers or extra whatever. And you look at what are those things and you narrow it down to the top 3 or 4 things. And then whoever is selling it the best you can, depends on where you're selling it, could be direct or through stores, you make sure that if it's with humans, they understand the story. They understand why you did what you did so that they can quickly explain it.
Very Labov. All right. We're going to jump right into some marketing. We're going to jump into scaling businesses because I know you know how to do that. We're going to talk about your book, but let's go back to the origin things, trying to figure out the algorithm of you. Let's go back. Are you from Indiana? What did mom and dad do for a living? How did you become what you are today?
Well, I'm not from Indiana originally. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am a Philadelphia Phillies fan. If you can see behind me, there's a lot of baseballs, and P is up there, their logo. My dad was
baseball from the ceiling, and he's got all the shirts and everything, and he's got the Eagles jerseys. It's a guy's dream come true. Yeah, that room.
Yeah, it's a fan, PHAN. So it's all Philadelphia stuff. But my dad was an electrical engineer, so he was always the smartest guy in the room. Brilliant. My mom was a woman who loved business. I mean, she was a stay-home mom at first, but then she ended up being a bookkeeper. She, as a child, worked for her father, who was a very successful businessman. So I grew up with my mom saying, you got to be in business. You got to be in business. You got to do business. And I would go, no, I hate business. I don't want to have anything to do with the business. My dad would say, you've got to be an engineer. And I go, yeah, I don't really understand engineering. I don't get it, Dad. And what happened was I fell in love with music. So I do have a family background with music. So I ended up being a rock and roll musician from the time I was 14 till maybe 30, and had a number of bands. Had some songs on the charts, had a song on VH1 videos, pretty successful, but made no money, of course. And one day my father, when I was 28 years old, passed away. And I all of a sudden realized I've got to get serious about this life. So I had started a tiny little jingle company that was producing musical ditties. And I thought, I got to do one thing or the other, either keep on with this band or do the jingle music company. And I thought, let's try this company thing because the band is so unfair. The music industry is very fickle. So I committed at that point. And within a couple of years, I had a client that approached me and said, hey, do you want to take on all of our marketing and we'll give you a 3-year contract? And I said, no, I think I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. But here are some agencies you can talk to. So this went on and on. They kept calling me. And about a year later, they called me up again and asked me. And I said, look, why do you keep calling me? And they said, because we trust you. Mm-hmm. So I went, ooh, okay. All right, I get it. I'll do it. And at that point, Michael, I became a full service agency, which sounds like, wow, everything was perfect. I didn't think through it very much because the next day, all my clients called me up because they were full service agencies and were hiring my services as a jingle writer and said, hey, congratulations, but we're never going to work with you again because you're a competitor. So I lost all my clients, but gained a big opportunity. And that's what happened. And within a couple of years, I won the Entrepreneur of the Year award based on some of the things I was doing. We grew and grew and ended up working with wonderful, famous, iconic companies like Volkswagen and Harley Davidson and Macallan Scotch, but also a lot of smaller companies that were wonderful. And so we're 40 plus years in and still doing it. And the whole focus I have for my company is one word: differentiation. We help companies differentiate their brand, not only to their customers, but also for their employees.
Wow. I want to get into you, but let's ask a question. Before I forget, how do you differentiate? What do you find out the thumbprint of that company, that people, but how do you display the difference? And how does that look like? What's your methodology for all?
We have our process is unique, so it's one of our differentiators. We have 5 steps. One step is we talk to humans. We talk to people involved with the company, people that lead the company, people that build the product, people that buy the product. But we also go in to the plant, the factory, the facility, whatever it is, and we look for technical uniqueness. It could be in the product features, it could be in the technology, whatever it is, and we scour that place and we find it. So the first step is we talk to humans, and the second step is we look at things. What things are unique? So once we find some unique differentiator possibilities, we then go to our third step and we do a jam session, just like my old days in music. With the client. We say, look, here are some interesting things. What do you think? They'll, give us good feedback on it. We all decide what the uniquenesses are. We go to the fourth step, which is putting together, whether it's ads, whether it's websites, whatever is needed to really tell that story of that differentiation. But before we go to launching it to the world, our fifth step is celebrate it with the employees first, so they become your ambassadors, and then we launch it to the world. So we have a process and we follow it. We've done it literally 150 or more times. We're currently working with probably 15 clients doing this exact process.
Meet the Bolo Pack, the ultimate travel companion that transforms into a hammock, a pop-up tent, and even a cooler. Whether you're hiking, camping, or chilling at the beach, the Bolo Pack has you covered. First up, the Bolo Pack is a sleek, compact backpack, perfect for day trips or long adventures. Need a break? With a simple pull, the Bolo Pack transforms into a relaxing hammock, perfect for catching your breath during hikes. Planning to spend the night? The Bolo Pack also converts into a pop-up tent, giving you shelter wherever you go. And the best part? The Bolo Pack doubles as a cooler, keeping your food and drinks fresh for hours. Let me show you how easy it is to switch between modes. First, the hammock. Just a few simple steps, and you're ready to relax. Next, the pop-up tent for quick shelter setup. And finally, the cooler function, ensuring you stay refreshed on the go. From day hikes to weekend getaways, the Bolo Pack adapts to your needs. Whether you're chilling, camping, or keeping your snacks cool, ready to upgrade your travel game? Get your Bolo Pack today and take your adventures to the next level. Link in the description.
Such a, no, it's what a paradigm shift and focus on discovering what's your true voice as a product or service and putting it out there. That's interesting. I love that. So you start this business, and when do you start to really, I'm just curious about your journey. Like, when do you start to hit critical mass where you really start to find good strides? Was it immediate? Was it, you said 2 years, but then, somebody else came along, you started working with them, what did that journey look like for you as far as excelling?
I didn't know what I was in for because I never wanted to be a business person. So I think that was an advantage. So I walked into it with very low expectations. I did not think I was going to become rich from doing it. What happened was we found 1 or 2 clients. Volkswagen was an early client of ours, and that led to other clients that were interested, and it built up. And we started to be offered opportunities that we had not really had experience in, but it was close enough for us to go, okay. And all of a sudden, we're doing things like launching products nationwide. And we're going, my gosh, we're now launching, a brand new Audi car nationwide. And I'm going, my gosh, then we got involved with more technology. So what happened was we took this journey as we were working with and helping our clients, and it led us to places we did not expect. So it was very organic. It grew and grew, and some years it just exploded. Other years it stayed the same. When the Great Recession happened, we lost a good amount of business because one or two of our clients just went out of business. I mean, they were gone. So it has been mostly a trip going up, but right after the Great Recession, I would say we were flat for at least 5-6 years. And I hated it. I hated just being flat. And a few things happened, and boy, we came back to life. And then it was going great. And then COVID hit. And I thought, oh no, we just have all this momentum. But we grew during COVID, and we haven't stopped since.
We've had somebody on the show. He's from Harley. He was the head of marketing for Harley, but he started with them, and you probably know the name, of course. He started with them when they were like in the early 80s, or they were in a downturn. They had some financial issues. They didn't have a lot of money to spend on advertising. And he said they started doing barbecues and stuff outside of their shops. And let's invite these people in, just talk to them, kind of like a focus group. And that was part of the promotion. Do you remember the campaign of your relationship with them? Because they're an interesting, case study, on people that don't have a lot of money. That granted, they were Harley. They had a lot of history. But let's talk about the case study with them and your relationship and some of the needle movers for those guys and you.
Well, Harley's a phenomenal brand. And one thing that's really great about them is they know their differentiation, which is really around not only a beautiful machine that looks gorgeous and is designed brilliantly, but also the experience that you get when you buy a Harley. You become part of HOG, the Harley owner group. It's a brotherhood, sisterhood, right? So they're brilliant in what they provide in those ways. Okay. So we were brought in after the Great Recession, because up to then we would talk to them. I had a friend that worked there, and he said, look, I'd love to work with you, but business is so great. We really don't even know what you could help us with. But after the big recession, I got a phone call from him, and he said, okay, we need to not only build a new boat, we got to burn down the old boat. We've got to do things differently. We've got to engage our dealers to get out there and sell. Because see, what happened was many of those dealers became very complacent, and they no longer felt that they needed to really break a sweat. So that's what happened. So we helped them. We helped engage those dealers and get them excited.
And how did you do that? What were some of the levers that you put?
We created a program where there was a competition between dealers, and each month and in each one of their regions, the top dealer who sold the most product and the dealer that sold the biggest increase of product from the year before, so that could be a smaller dealer, would both win an award. Nothing giant, a few $100, and they could go share it. But what we were doing is we were recognizing what these people could do. So we thought that was fun, and they had great participation because all of a sudden these very competitive people were involved with trying to beat the other dealerships out in a good way. They were trying to win, so it was a fun time, and it was a very positive morale builder for those dealerships.
So we have a company. We just launched it. I've had a Me Too company for like 24 years, but we just launched a company. We're actually just going to be launching it officially because we had a Kickstarter campaign. We're launching it in a couple of weeks. Backpack company. We created a backpack that it connects to a tarp that opens up to a hammock. It's also a gear organizer. It's a sidewall to a pop-up tent. Connects to a soft cooler. It has a drain on it for diverting water. All connects to each other. We call them Bolo packs. And the company's name is Bolotor. We don't want to. We got some money to spend, but we're not a huge company. We're still a small company. Even TarsPlus.com, which is my original company for 20 years plus. So what would be the advice for, because I fit into a lot of categories for a lot of people that are driving their car right now, listening to this probably, and they're thinking, I'm starting a business, or I want to start a business, or I want to, what are some things that I can do to, do I get a spreadsheet and try to look at my differences and list them down, or what are some actual tangible actions I can take to start to strategize? And then how do I market myself?
Well, you talk to your customers who are buying from you and you try to learn why. And you try to listen for the words they use. Hopefully, they're not saying cheapest or easiest. They're saying things like design, and they're talking about things like that. You also then look at the way you are producing the product. What is unique? Is there a certain manufacturing approach? Is there a technology? Is there a material? Is there a fabric? Is there a design that you have extra? It could be, if it's a backpack, extra pockets or extra zippers or extra whatever. And you look at what are those things and you narrow it down to the top 3 or 4 things and you name them. So you don't just say, hey, we have this zipper pocket. No, you have the such and such pocket, which means blah, blah, blah. So you make it fun. You name it. And then whoever is selling it the best you can, depends on where you're selling. It could be direct or through stores. You make sure that if it's with humans, they understand the story. They understand why you did what you did so that they can quickly explain it. Or you make sure at the stores that there's some point of purchase sign or something, or a tag on the product itself that says, here's what you want to know about this product. And you look at it, you go, oh, wow, it's got these 3 things. That's really cool. So that's what I would do.
That's good advice. That's great. You have a great way of explaining. That's why I want to segue into your book. You have a great way off the bat of explaining things simplistically and easily to understand. The book that you wrote, tell us about what's it called and how you break it down and how you know more about it.
The book is called The Power of Differentiation. The subtitle is Win, W-I-N. So win hearts, minds, and market share. And that's the order you got to go into this to be successful. Now, one thing as a sidebar, Michael, one of my chapters talks about companies that have Me Too products. So it's interesting. It's interesting. So, and we talk about how to make sure you can stand out when you have positioned yourself as a Me Too, as an example. But the book is a collection of about 50 different stories of some really great people who rallied their companies to face difficult challenges and then made history. And when I say made history, it could be a tiny little company. You go, I've never heard of them. Well, they made history for their company. It was historic. And it's something where one of the people we worked with would say, you know what, this is the highlight of my career. So that's what I get motivated by. I want to find that differentiation, and I want what my company does with a client to be the highlight of their career. And in many cases, that's been the case. So the book is filled with that information. It's filled with how to identify your differentiation. It's filled with things like jam sessions, how to conduct a jam session to come up with actionable ideas, not just wild, crazy thoughts that nobody can afford, but things that are actually achievable. So it's a very fascinating book. It's not about me. It's about many great people who I have been fortunate enough to know. And really, I think it should serve as an inspiration for individuals, so much that I want to inspire 1 million people with the message in the book. That's my goal. So I'm not looking for one more client sale or 45 new clients. I'm looking to inspire 1 million people.
Where are you at today? What's going on in your career right now? I know you love baseball and Philadelphia in general, and football, but where are you at today in your personal life and your career right now? What's topical for you?
Topical for me is I love working with clients. So I'm working with a baseball team, as a matter of fact, a professional ball team. They're not affiliated with the Phillies, but they're a really great group, and we're trying to help them with a pretty historic challenge. We're working with a family business that is, facing some turmoil, and we're trying to overcome some of those problems and rally them. We're doing that. We're working with an insurance provider that wants to differentiate themselves. I'm trying to motivate my own people to make sure they know that they're making a difference at our company. So a lot of those things are going on. We're helping with a healthcare system, a multi-billion-dollar healthcare system, And we're meeting with, along with their top executive, we're meeting with over 45 different locations of theirs to sit down with small groups of employees to listen and learn. And we're going to do that all into next year too. So it's a for me, very exciting experience.
That's a heck of a jam session. That's like trying to do a jam session with like Live Aid and all the different bands.
Yep.
All right. Long-term play, 5, 10, 15 years down the line, do you plan out that far ahead? What's your long-term outlook look like?
For me personally, long-term outlook is I want to be viable and valuable. Retirement, I could have retired already. So my version of retirement would not be doing nothing of value and just goofing around. My version is probably another book, maybe working with specific companies to help them, helping my company continue on, maybe with a little bit of help from me that many years from now, but really allowing the really great people I have to continue on and keeping my company in Fort Wayne, Indiana and Dallas, Texas, where the two locations are, and making sure we help support those economies in those areas. Because I don't want us to be bought out and belong to one big conglomerate and all the people who have worked so hard disappear from the face of the earth as far as those companies are concerned. So I'm looking out for a lot of people, and it's an honor.
Right. Let's do a top 5. This is a no-brainer to ask you. So what are, for a company that's just starting out, what are the top 5 ways that they can market themselves?
First of all, differentiate yourself, of course. Second of all, rally your people around what you do because they are your greatest marketing weapon out there. Third of all, be as succinct as possible in how you describe your product. There are 200,000 words in the English language. Use more than the top 15 that we hear all the time, like service, selection, quality, and value. Get into something specific. Number 4, avoid the commodity monster. Do not commoditize your product or service or brand. Do not dumb it down. Just don't go there. Show honor to it. And I'd say number 5, make sure what you're doing is what you enjoy and believe in.
Wow, that's a tight top 5. Very nicely done. All right. Great job. All right. Bill Labov. Bill Labov. Barry Labov.
Yeah.
Great job. Outstanding.
Thank you.
Labov, it's a French, right?
It's actually Romanian Ukrainian, so it is not a French name.
Oh, okay. I'm Ukraine. I have Ukrainian background.
Yep.
Oh, see, kismet. All right. Wonderful. Tell everybody how they can find out more about you.
My website is barrylabov.com. My company's website is labov.com. Feel free to reach out. You can leave me a message or set up an appointment with me, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help anybody. Oh, and one thing is the company or the book is called The Power of Differentiation. It was the #1 new marketing book on Amazon. Please look at it, buy it, and leave a review. And if you have any questions regarding the book, it's another great opportunity for me to answer them. So feel free to reach out.
I can tell there's a lot of value there. You got the 40-yard stare when it comes to marketing. You're on it, and it's wonderful to talk to somebody with such a skill set of yours. So much data in your head on how to execute. Just wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing,
Michael. It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Gear up for your next adventure and head over to bolator.com to check out the amazing Bolo Pack and their other innovative outdoor gear. Catch you next time.